Looking at the rich tapestry of flavors that danced across my tongue the first time I tasted properly preserved Amish meat, I knew I had stumbled upon something extraordinary. While most of us panic at the first sign of a power outage, wondering how we'll keep our food fresh, the Amish have been quietly mastering the art of food preservation for generations without a single spark of electricity. These time-tested techniques aren't just about survival, they're about creating flavors that would make your modern freezer weep with envy. Picture this: rows of perfectly preserved meats hanging in cool, dark cellars, each one a testament to centuries of accumulated wisdom. We're talking about methods so effective they could keep your dinner fresh longer than your smartphone stays relevant. The Amish don't just preserve food, they transform it into something better than it was before, using nothing more than salt, smoke, and an intimate understanding of how nature intended us to store our sustenance. Let me paint you a picture of what real food preservation looks like. Walk into any Amish kitchen and you'll find shelves lined with glass jars containing everything from succulent beef to tender chicken, all perfectly preserved and ready to feed a family through the harshest winter months. These aren't your sad store-bought canned goods that taste like they were processed in a laboratory. This is food that's been lovingly prepared using methods passed down through generations, each jar a small miracle of preservation science. The beauty of these techniques lies in their elegant simplicity. While we're busy checking expiration dates and playing freezer Tetris with our weekly grocery hauls, the Amish are sitting pretty with pantries full of food that laughs at the concept of spoilage. They've figured out how to turn the most basic ingredients into preservation powerhouses that would make modern food scientists scratch their heads in wonder. Here's what's truly remarkable about the Amish approach to food preservation. They don't fight against nature, they work with it. Every technique they use harnesses natural processes that have been keeping food fresh since long before electricity was even a dream. Salt draws out moisture like a magnet, creating an environment where harmful bacteria simply can't survive. Smoke adds layers of flavor while forming protective barriers around meat. Fat creates airtight seals that lock in freshness for months on end. But this isn't just about keeping food from spoiling. It's about creating flavors that are impossible to achieve with modern methods. That first bite of properly cured Amish ham will ruin you for anything you've ever pulled from a grocery store shelf. The depth of flavor, the perfect texture, the way it melts on your tongue, it's like tasting what food was meant to be before we started rushing everything through industrial processes. The science behind these methods is fascinating. When you pack meat in salt, you're essentially creating a hostile environment for bacteria while simultaneously drawing out moisture, the enemy of long-term food storage. The salt doesn't just preserve, it actually enhances the natural flavors of the meat, concentrating them into something far more delicious than the original product. It's like alchemy, but instead of turning base metals into gold, you're transforming ordinary ingredients into culinary treasures. And then there's the smoking process, which is nothing short of magical. The Amish have perfected the art of using different woods to create distinct flavor profiles. Hickory gives that classic smoky taste that makes your mouth water just thinking about it. Applewood adds subtle sweetness that pairs perfectly with pork. Oak provides a robust, earthy flavor that transforms beef into something extraordinary. Each wood choice is deliberate, each smoking session a carefully orchestrated performance that results in meat that's both preserved and elevated. What's truly impressive is how these preservation methods actually improve the nutritional value of food. Unlike modern processing that strips away vitamins and minerals, traditional preservation techniques often concentrate nutrients while extending shelf life. That jar of home-canned tomatoes sitting in an Amish pantry isn't just convenient, it's actually more nutritious than the fresh tomatoes you bought last week. The Amish have also mastered the art of combination preservation, using multiple techniques to create foods that are virtually indestructible. They'll salt cure meat, then smoke it, then store it in rendered fat, creating layers of preservation that ensure their food stays fresh for years. It's like building a fortress around your dinner, with each preservation method adding another layer of protection against spoilage. But perhaps the most ingenious aspect of Amish food preservation is how they've turned it into a year-round system. They don't just preserve food randomly, they follow the natural rhythms of the seasons. Spring brings fresh vegetables that get pickled and canned. Summer's bounty gets dried and stored. Fall's harvest gets root cellared and preserved. Winter becomes a time of enjoying the fruits of their preservation labors while planning for the next cycle. The root cellar itself is a marvel of natural engineering. Dug into the earth, where temperatures remain constant year-round, these underground chambers create the perfect environment for long-term food storage. No electricity required, no moving parts to break down, just the steady, reliable coolness of the earth itself keeping vegetables fresh for months. It's like having nature's own refrigerator, one that never breaks down and never sends you a monthly bill. Even their approach to dairy preservation is brilliant. While we're checking expiration dates on milk cartons, the Amish are making butter that they'll store in cool cellars for months, cheese that improves with age, and cultured products that actually get better over time. They've figured out how to turn milk's natural tendency to ferment into an advantage, creating products that are not only preserved but enhanced by the aging process. The psychological aspect of this food security cannot be overstated. There's something deeply satisfying about knowing your pantry is stocked with food that won't spoil, that will feed your family regardless of what happens with the power grid or the supply chain. The Amish sleep soundly knowing their food storage systems are as reliable as the sunrise, tested by generations of ancestors who depended on these same techniques for survival. What makes these preservation methods even more impressive is their sustainability. There's no waste in an Amish kitchen, no throwing away spoiled food, no contributing to the massive food waste problem that plagues modern society. Every scrap gets used. Every technique maximizes the potential of each ingredient. It's a closed-loop system that would make modern environmentalists weep with joy. The flavors these preservation methods create are simply incomparable. That tang of properly fermented sauerkraut, sharp and alive on your tongue. The deep, complex taste of meat that's been slowly cured and smoked. The intense sweetness of fruit that's been dried in the sun until it becomes nature's candy. These aren't just preserved foods, they're culinary experiences that connect you to generations of people who understood that food is meant to be savored, not just consumed. and the versatility of these preserved foods is remarkable. That jar of home-canned beef becomes the base for hearty stews on cold winter nights. Those dried apples transform into pies that taste like concentrated sunshine. The pickled vegetables add bright, acidic notes to heavy winter meals. Each preserved item becomes a building block for countless future meals, a pantry full of possibilities just waiting to be explored. The Amish have also mastered the social aspect of food preservation. Canning sessions become community events, with neighbors sharing knowledge, trading recipes, and helping each other prepare for the months ahead. It's not just about preserving food, it's about preserving community, tradition, and the bonds that tie people together. The Amish have mastered food preservation for centuries without modern refrigeration. But there's another method they use that most people never think about: controlling moisture through natural air circulation and specialized storage environments. This technique goes beyond simple drying and ventures into the realm of creating perfect microclimates for different types of food. In Amish communities, you'll find ingenious storage systems that work with nature's rhythms rather than against them. They understand that different foods require different environments, and they've developed sophisticated methods to create these conditions without electricity or modern climate control systems. Think of it as nature's own food preservation laboratory, where every element has been carefully considered and perfected over generations. One of their most clever techniques involves what they call breathing storage. Unlike our modern airtight containers that seal everything away, the Amish create storage systems that allow controlled air exchange. They use materials like cedar, pine, and oak to build storage containers that naturally regulate moisture levels while keeping pests at bay. These woods contain natural oils and compounds that act as preservatives, creating an environment where food stays fresh longer than you might expect. The science behind this approach is fascinating. When food is stored in these breathing containers, the wood absorbs excess moisture during humid periods and releases it back during dry spells. It's like having a natural humidity regulator that never needs batteries or maintenance. The wood also imparts subtle antimicrobial properties that help prevent spoilage, creating a preservation system that's both effective and completely sustainable. Take their approach to storing grains, for instance. While most of us might think throwing wheat or corn into any old container will do the trick, the Amish have developed specific methods that can keep these staples fresh for decades. They layer different materials in their storage containers, creating what amounts to a preservation sandwich. A layer of clean sand at the bottom, then the grain, then another layer of sand with aromatic herbs like bay leaves or mint scattered throughout to deter insects. This layered approach isn't just about keeping bugs away, though that's certainly part of it. The sand acts as a moisture buffer, absorbing excess humidity while allowing air to circulate through the grain. The herbs provide natural pest deterrence while adding their own preservative qualities. It's a system that works so well that archaeologists have found similar storage methods in ancient civilizations, proving that good ideas really do stand the test of time. But perhaps the most impressive aspect of Amish food preservation is their understanding of seasonal storage cycles. They don't just preserve food and forget about it. They rotate their stores based on the time of year, the weather patterns, and even the phase of the moon. This might sound like superstition, but there's solid science behind it. Atmospheric pressure changes, humidity levels, and temperature fluctuations all affect how food behaves in storage, and the Amish have learned to work with these natural cycles rather than fight them. During the harvest season, you'll find Amish families working in carefully choreographed preservation marathons. Different foods get processed at different times, not just based on when they're ready, but on the optimal conditions for long-term storage. Root vegetables might be stored when barometric pressure is high, while dried herbs are put away during low humidity periods. It's like they're conducting a symphony of preservation, with each element timed to perfection. Their approach to storing dairy products without refrigeration is particularly ingenious. They use a combination of cool underground storage, natural fermentation, and what they call the water cooling method. By placing containers of milk, butter, or cheese in cool running water or in specially designed spring houses, they can maintain temperatures low enough to keep dairy products fresh for days or even weeks. The constant water movement provides evaporation cooling, while the underground location takes advantage of the Earth's natural insulation properties. One technique that really showcases their ingenuity is their use of what they call preservation partnerships. Different foods are stored together because they help preserve each other. Apples stored with potatoes help prevent the potatoes from sprouting, while the potatoes help maintain humidity levels that keep the apples from drying out. Onions and garlic stored near grains help deter insects, while certain herbs can prevent mold growth in stored vegetables. The Amish also understand the importance of container breathing in ways that go beyond simple air circulation. They've learned that different materials interact with food in different ways, and they choose their storage containers accordingly. Clay pots for some items, wooden boxes for others, and woven baskets for foods that need maximum airflow. Each material creates its own microenvironment, and the Amish have mastered the art of matching the right container to the right food. Their knowledge extends to understanding how foods age and change over time in storage. Rather than seeing this as deterioration, they view it as transformation. Some foods actually improve with age when stored properly, developing deeper flavors and better nutritional profiles. The Amish have learned to work with these natural aging processes, creating storage conditions that enhance rather than merely preserve. What's particularly impressive is their ability to create these sophisticated storage systems using only local materials. They're not ordering specialized equipment online or relying on manufactured products. Everything they use comes from their immediate environment: the wood from their forests, the clay from their soil, the stones from their fields. It's a completely local, sustainable system that could be replicated anywhere with the right knowledge and attention to detail. The psychological aspect of their preservation methods shouldn't be overlooked either. There's something deeply satisfying about opening a storage container months after filling it and finding the contents not just preserved, but actually improved. The Amish understand that food preservation isn't just about preventing spoilage. It's about creating anticipation, maintaining connection to the seasons, and ensuring that the work of harvest time continues to nourish throughout the year. This approach to food preservation represents something much larger than just keeping food fresh. It's a philosophy that sees storage not as a necessary evil, but as an art form that connects us to natural cycles, seasonal rhythms, and the deep satisfaction of self-sufficiency. In a world where we've become accustomed to throwing away food that's past its prime, the Amish remind us that with the right techniques, food can be a long-term investment in our future well-being. Their methods prove that effective food preservation doesn't require expensive equipment or complicated processes. It requires understanding, patience, and respect for the natural properties of both food and the materials used to store it. The secrets to long-term food preservation go far beyond what we've already covered, diving into territories that would make even the most prepared homesteader take notes. These aren't just methods for storing food, they're entire systems for creating sustainable abundance that can last through generations. Let's talk about something that sounds almost too good to be true: fermentation chambers. The Amish have perfected underground fermentation systems that work like natural refrigerators, maintaining consistent temperatures year-round without a single watt of electricity. These aren't your typical root cellars we discussed earlier. We're talking about sophisticated underground networks that use the Earth's natural thermal mass to create perfect conditions for aging cheeses, fermenting vegetables, and even brewing beverages that get better with time. Picture walking into one of these chambers and finding wheels of cheese that have been aging for decades, each one developing complex flavors that would make a French cheesemaker weep with envy. The temperature stays steady at around 55 degrees Fahrenheit. The humidity is perfectly controlled by the earth itself, and the result is food that doesn't just survive, it thrives and improves over time. But here's where things get really interesting. The Amish have developed what they call companion storage, where different foods actually help preserve each other. It's like creating a symbiotic ecosystem in your pantry. Certain herbs release natural compounds that protect nearby vegetables from spoilage, while some fruits give off gases that help cure meats faster. It's nature's own preservation network, and once you understand the science behind it, you'll never look at food storage the same way again. One of the most impressive techniques involves something called controlled spoilage. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. The Amish have learned to harness beneficial bacteria and molds to create protective barriers around their food. Think of it like vaccination for your vegetables. By introducing good microorganisms, they prevent harmful ones from taking hold. This technique can extend the life of fresh produce by months, sometimes even years. Take apples, for example. Most of us are lucky if our apples last a few weeks before getting soft and brown. But the Amish have a method involving beneficial yeasts that creates a protective coating on the apple's skin. These treated apples can last up to 2 years in proper storage, and they actually taste better after months of aging. The natural sugars concentrate, the texture becomes more complex, and you end up with something that tastes like nature's candy. The really clever part is how they've adapted these techniques for modern life. You don't need a full Amish homestead to use these methods. Many of these preservation techniques can be scaled down for apartment living or suburban homes. The key is understanding the principles behind them rather than just copying the methods blindly. One technique that absolutely blew my mind is their approach to grain storage. We touched on wheat berries earlier, But the Amish have developed methods for storing grains that actually improve their nutritional value over time. Through controlled fermentation and specific temperature cycling, they can increase the protein content and bioavailability of nutrients in stored grains. It's like having a nutritional upgrade happening right in your pantry. They accomplish this through something called enzymatic activation. By carefully controlling moisture and temperature cycles, they trigger natural processes within the grain that break down complex proteins into more digestible forms. The result is a grain that's not only preserved for decades, but actually becomes more nutritious and easier to digest over time. The water storage techniques deserve special mention too. The Amish have methods for storing water that keep it fresh and clean for years without any chemical additives. They use a combination of natural filtration materials, beneficial minerals, and specific container designs that prevent bacterial growth while maintaining water quality. Some families have water stores that are over a decade old and still taste fresher than what comes out of most city taps. Their approach to fat storage is particularly ingenious. We discussed using lard to preserve meats, but the Amish have developed methods for storing various fats and oils that can last for decades. They use specific combinations of natural antioxidants, controlled atmosphere storage, and temperature management to prevent rancidity. These stored fats become incredibly valuable resources for cooking, preservation, and even medicinal uses. Speaking of medicinal uses, the Amish have integrated food preservation with herbal medicine in ways that would impress any pharmacist. They store medicinal herbs alongside food items, creating combinations that serve dual purposes. Certain herb and food combinations actually enhance each other's therapeutic properties over time. It's like having a pharmacy and pantry combined into one system. The community aspect of these preservation methods is something that often gets overlooked. The Amish don't just preserve food for individual families, they create community reserves that can support entire neighborhoods during difficult times. They have systems for sharing preservation knowledge, rotating stored goods, and maintaining quality across multiple households. It's a model of food security that could revolutionize how we think about community resilience. One of the most sophisticated techniques involves what they call succession preservation. This is where they time their preservation activities to create continuous supplies of food at different stages of aging. So while one batch of sauerkraut is ready to eat, another is just starting to ferment, and a third is reaching peak flavor after months of aging. It's like having a conveyor belt of perfectly timed food production. The storage container innovations are remarkable too. The Amish have developed specific designs for different types of food that optimize preservation conditions. These aren't just random containers, they're engineered systems that control airflow, moisture, temperature, and even light exposure. Some containers are designed to allow specific gases to escape while keeping others in, creating perfect microenvironments for different foods. Their approach to seasonal cycling is particularly clever. They've learned to use natural seasonal temperature changes to their advantage, moving foods between different storage areas throughout the year to optimize preservation conditions. It's like having a natural climate control system that works with the Earth's rhythms rather than fighting against them. The most impressive aspect of all these techniques is their interconnectedness. Nothing exists in isolation. Every preservation method supports and enhances others, creating a web of food security that's incredibly resilient. When one method might fail, others step in to fill the gap. It's a level of redundancy and integration that puts most modern food systems to shame. These aren't just survival techniques, they're recipes for abundance. The Amish have proven that with the right knowledge and methods, you can create food systems that not only preserve what you have, but actually multiply and improve it over time. They've turned food storage from a desperate attempt to prevent spoilage into an art form that creates better food than what most of us can buy fresh from the store. The beauty of these methods lies in their simplicity and sustainability. They don't require expensive equipment, exotic ingredients, or complex technology. They work with natural processes, enhance them, and create systems that can last for generations. The journey we've taken together through these time-tested methods reveals something profound about the relationship between knowledge and sustenance. These techniques aren't just about preserving food, they're about preserving wisdom, community bonds, and a way of life that values resilience over convenience. What strikes me most about watching these preservation methods in action is how they transform simple ingredients into something far greater than their original form. That fermented sauerkraut isn't just cabbage anymore. It's a living testament to patience and understanding. Those dried herbs hanging from kitchen rafters aren't just seasoning. They're captured sunshine ready to brighten the darkest winter days. The beauty of these interconnected systems becomes clear when you see how each method supports the others. The salt that preserves meat also enhances fermentation. The wooden ash that protects root vegetables enriches the soil when spring arrives. The rendered fat that seals and flavors can also fuel lamps when needed. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything works together in harmony. Perhaps most importantly, these methods remind us that food preservation is fundamentally about hope. Every jar sealed, every root stored, every piece of meat cured represents an act of faith in the future. The Amish understand that tomorrow's nourishment depends on today's careful preparation, and this philosophy extends far beyond their pantries. The flavors achieved through these natural processes often surpass anything modern technology can produce. That slowly fermented pickle develops complex layers of taste that no quick commercial process can replicate. The meat preserved with salt and smoke carries depths of flavor that frozen alternatives simply cannot match. These foods don't just nourish the body, they tell stories of seasons, weather, and the hands that prepared them. Community plays a crucial role in these preservation practices. Neighbors share knowledge, trade surplus, and help during harvest times. The barn-raising spirit extends to food preservation, with families gathering to can vegetables, cure meats, and prepare for winter together. These activities strengthen social bonds while ensuring everyone has enough to survive the lean months. The environmental wisdom embedded in these practices becomes more relevant each year. No electricity means no carbon footprint from refrigeration. No plastic packaging means no waste-filling landfills. No chemical preservatives means no unknown additives in the food supply. These methods work with natural cycles rather than against them. What's remarkable is how these techniques scale beautifully from individual households to entire communities. A single family can preserve enough food for themselves while a community working together can create surplus that supports everyone through difficult times. The knowledge spreads organically through generations, ensuring continuity and adaptation. The health benefits of these preservation methods often exceed those of modern alternatives. Fermented foods provide probiotics that support digestive health. Naturally preserved meats avoid the chemical additives found in commercial products. Root vegetables stored in proper conditions retain more nutrients than those shipped thousands of miles. These preservation techniques also offer unexpected versatility. That barrel of sauerkraut can become soup, side dish, or sandwich filling. Those dried fruits transform into snacks, desserts, or bread ingredients. The preserved meats work equally well in stews, sandwiches, or eaten alone. One preservation method yields multiple meal possibilities. The psychological benefits of food security cannot be overstated. Knowing that your pantry contains months of nutritious food provides peace of mind that no grocery store can match. The confidence that comes from self-sufficiency affects every aspect of life, reducing anxiety and increasing resilience in facing challenges. These methods also teach valuable lessons about patience and delayed gratification. The best preserved foods often require weeks or months to reach peak flavor. This waiting period builds character and appreciation for the final product. Modern instant gratification culture could learn much from this approach. The tools and materials required for these preservation methods remain simple and accessible. No specialized equipment, no expensive machinery, no technical expertise beyond what can be learned through practice.